I'm out in the barrel barns here in High Texas tasting beautiful barrels of bourbon, and I come across barrels that are very honey forward, and I want to highlight that. I want to share that experience with as many palates as possible. We'll wait till we have several hundred of those barrels, and we dump all that bourbon and put it into a tank that we call LC, the Bourbon Cow. Then we have the actual physical barrels, rustle and roll, break those barrels apart for us, and we end up with the staves. From the staves, we run all that through a miter saw and turn it in to these little cubes. And you know, it's a little bigger than a sugar cube. A lot of people say, you know, pork belly chunks grilled on the perfect pit. They get all kinds of names around here, but we just call them our honey cubes. We take a couple of 5-gallon buckets of Stacy's Texas Wildflower Burleson's honey, and we'll take around 5 gallons of that cask strength bourbon that we just harvested out of those barrels. We send all of that to my buddy Matt, and he infuses these cubes with the honey and the bourbon. The reason we send him some of the cask strength is it liquefies the honey and makes it workable. Matt developed and owns the technology called FIT, F-I-T. He takes that concoction and puts it all into these little cubes. I get the cubes back, and they're just saturated with the bourbon and the honey. But the actual bourbon that came from those barrels, Garrison Brothers at cask strength, and that honey. Make a tea bag, which is just some cheesecloth and all of Matt's cubes that he's infused for me, and we put them down into LC the bourbon tank. And over a series of several months, almost daily, I'll pull the bag out, look at the bourbon, taste the bourbon, nose the bourbon, put the bag back in. So in and out over 60, 90, sometimes 120 days. We let the bourbon make the decision, other than, you know, our watch or a calendar or the POs that are stacking up. We actually let the bourbon make that decision. When I believe that we haven't covered up that great base GB wheated bourbon, it's still bourbon. We've just highlighted the honey notes, put it right on the front of everyone's palate, and then from there, as you go to enjoy that sip of HoneyDew, it goes from that honey note to that great wheated bourbon, long lingering finish, never gets on the side of your palate. It's not too sweet, it's not syrupy, it's not goopy. It's an authentic Texas bourbon, and we've just highlighted the honey with our infused cubes. We haven't added any extract, any flavoring, and there's a real difference there. Those chemicals just will eventually fall out or really change your base product. This is not flavored bourbon. This is infused with Burleson's Texas Wildflower honey. It's just this perfect, subtle honey on the palate, and it's just so enjoyable. 80 proof, most palates can really enjoy that. It's just a great bourbon that has a hint of honey. Why wouldn't anyone like that?